For more, let's bring in former Department of Defense Chief of Staff Kash Patel. Kash, make up their minds. So there's a lot to be proud of, they said, about what happened in Afghanistan, 13 troops dead. However, they pivot and blame the Trump administration for what happened.
Hey, it's great to be with you. And look, as a Chief of Staff of the Department of Defense, by regulation, I was charged to lead the transition from the Trump administration to the Biden administration. Those instructions came from the Trump White House. We led the largest DoD transition in presidential history, providing them in the depths of COVID with the most access to the most documentation and one-on-one meetings than any president had ever done before. We did that because the Afghan withdrawal was the priority that the president asked us to pass on. And we did that and told them, you can call it the Biden plan. You can call it whatever you want, but do it based on the intelligence. And we were proud of the fact that we lost not one single service member life during our withdrawal plan. Now, the Biden administration, was too busy ignoring our documented emails and requests for meetings and phone calls. That's up to them, but we still put it in the record and transferred it to them. They were too busy firing my employees on paternity and maternity leave to make a political stink out of that. Maybe if they focused on Afghanistan, 13 U.S. American soldiers would still be alive today.
So, Kash, is it fair to say that the plan that was worked up by the Trump administration was not followed for the withdrawal in Afghanistan by the Biden administration?
Absolutely. And you need not listen to me. You need listen to the Biden DoD Inspector General's report and other matters relating to the Afghan withdrawal. The key piece of intelligence was do not give up Bagram airfield. Never give it up because of its proximity to China, because it's our forward operating base for the United States and allied partners alike, and because it's our staging platform where we housed and detained supposed terrorists in Bagram jails. Do you know where the bomber, the suicide vest bomber that killed 13 Americans came from? Right out of the Bagram detention center after Joe Biden let them all out. How could they possibly say the Trump administration did not provide them with the intel and the recommendation to keep the Bagram airfield, which is widely known, and Joe Biden decided to throw that out along with American lives?
He's a liar. George Stephanopoulos asked him point blank, your top military advisors warned you against withdrawing on this timeline. They wanted you to keep about 2,500 troops. Biden, no, they didn't. It was split. That's not true. He's a liar. A delegation of U.S. lawmakers, meantime, landing in Taiwan after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy met with the island's leader. Kash, what do you make of where we are with siding with Taiwan, but also China's planning for war? 2027 is the target date.
China's been planning for war for decades, and it's easy to do so when you have no rule of law, a tyrannical dictatorship, and you don't care about the citizens of your own country. The Department of Defense under President Trump prioritized action in the South China Sea to defend against any possible inclination of Xi Jinping and the CCP invading Taiwan. And Kevin McCarthy's trip is a great show of force by an American leader, the number 3 in the United States government, to go to Taiwan and say, we are standing with you, when so many people around the world are aligning with China because our commander-in-chief refuses to make allies and keep them. Saudi Arabia is a perfect example. The CCP just brokered a deal there. Who else is being bought and paid for by the Chinese and Russian governments? The next theater of war may very well be the Indo-PACOM theater, and Taiwan is the target, just like the Ukraine was the target for Vladimir Putin.
You know, Kash, the LA consulate from China put out a statement, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they basically said this meeting that Kevin McCarthy had with the Taiwan president, it was only going to strengthen the Chinese resolve against their enemy. And I believe they're talking about their enemy as the United States of America. So they speak freely about us being their enemy, but Joe Biden can't muster the backbone to call China an enemy. It's a strategic competitor.
No, Joe Biden, if it were up to him, would probably call China a friend.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
say they were doing great deals around the country by allowing the Iran, the world's largest state sponsor of terror, by getting into an agreement with our allies who will provide them nuclear material so they can complete their nuclear program. What kind of win is that for global diplomacy when the Ayatollahs who wish death on America are now inching towards a nuclear program with the assistance of the Chinese? This is happening because our commander-in-chief, Joe Biden, has failed not just diplomatically on the world stage, but operationally, like he did in Afghanistan, like he did when it comes to Ukraine, and like he's doing when it comes to Taiwan. So other leaders in our government must step up.
We can't even ban TikTok. I keep saying that every day.
That's true.
We can't even ban TikTok. We live in a world of insanity, Kash Patel. Again, fight them with our economy, our heft. Debt is our death. It's our weakness, Kash Patel. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kash.